Hi, my dear students. So happy to see you again. I hope all of you have revised that portions that we learned in our last class. In our last class, we saw about lesson 1 nutrition and plants, right? So, from that, we studied that what is food and what is nutrition, right? Then we studied about autotrophic nutrition and heterotrophic nutrition. So, what is autotrophic nutrition? The mode of nutrition in which an organism makes its own food is called autotrophic nutrition. Okay. Then we studied about photosynthesis. What is photosynthesis? The process of using the energy of light to convert water and carbon dioxide into sugar and oxygen is called photosynthesis. Okay. Next we studied about conditions necessary for photosynthesis. The general conditions necessary for photosynthesis are the presence of green pigment called chlorophyll, the presence of light, the availability of carbon dioxide, and the availability of water. Next, we studied these conditions detail. Okay, deeply we studied that. Then we started to study about heterotrophic nutrition. Okay, so what is heterotrophic nutrition? Do you remember? The mode of nutrition in which an organism depends on other organism for food is called heterotrophic nutrition. Okay, what is heterotrophic nutrition? The mode of nutrition in which an organism depends on other organism for food is called heterotrophic nutrition. Okay, from there we studied that heterotrophic plants are divided into four types. Okay, what are they? Parasitic plants, saprophytic plants, insectivorous plants, and symbiotic plants. Okay, what is parasitic plant? A parasitic plant is one that partially or completely depends on another plant for nutrition. A parasitic plant is one that partially or completely depend on another plant for nutrition. Okay, here we studied three examples. What are they? Cuscuta or dodder plant, mistletoe and rafflesia. Okay. Next we studied about Cuscuta. Okay. Cuscuta Cuscuta observed from the root or stem of the host plant. Okay. And also the Cuscuta has a short root and a long thread-like stem. It twins around the host stem and send branches around neighboring stems. Okay. Cuscuta does not have any leaves, so there is no chlorophyll. Okay, and it cannot make its own food. Okay, um, and also it depends on host plant for food and water. So the Cuscuta is called the total parasitic plant. Okay. Next we studied the example about mistletoe. Okay. Mistletoe is also a parasitic plant. Okay, but it is not a total parasitic plant. It is partially parasitic plant. Why the mistletoe is a partial parasitic plant? This plant has a green leaves and makes its own food. Okay, so but this plant depend on other plant for minerals and water. Okay, so the mistletoe is a partial parasitic plant. Okay, next we studied about rafflesia. Okay, this is the world largest flower and it has 5 petals and it has diameter up to 106 centimeter. Okay, and weights up to 10 kg. Okay, this plant has no stem, no leaf and no root. Okay, so it cannot prepare the food by their own. So this is under parasitic plant. Okay, next we studied about saprophytic plants. Okay, a saprophytic plant is one that obtains its nutrients from dead and decaying plant and animal matter. Okay, a saprophytic plant is one that obtains its nutrients from dead and decaying organic plant or animal matter. Okay, that is saprophytic plants. Here we studied the examples: Indian pipe and coral root. Indian pipe and coral root. Okay, the Indian pipe is found commonly in Asia and North America, and the coral root is found in forest around the world. Okay, forest around the world. Understand that? That is Indian pipe and coral root. That is saprophytic plants. Understand that? Next, let's study about insectivorous plants. Okay, what is that? Insectivorous plants. Okay, these insectivorous plants are the one that derive some or most of their nutrients by trapping and consuming animals, mainly from insects. Okay, the insectivorous plants are the ones that derive some or most of their nutrients by trapping and consuming animals, mainly insects. Okay. Okay, what are insectivorous plants? The name itself indicates that these plants are somehow related to insects, right? So, what are insectivorous plants? Insectivorous plants are the ones that derive some or most of their nutrients by trapping and consuming animals, mainly insects. Okay, the insectivorous plants are adapted to grow in soil that does not have enough minerals. Okay, so these plants feed on insects to obtain minerals. Okay, these plants feed on um, insects to obtain minerals. They have chlorophyll in the leaves to make food. Okay, some examples of insectivorous plants are Venus flytrap, pitcher plant, drosera, or sundew, and bladderwort. Okay, see there, the first picture is the Venus flytrap. Okay, so let's learn about that. Listen, this picture plant, this Venus flytrap. As you can see, the leaves of this plant is hinged to make a trap. Okay, the leaves of this plant is hinged to make a trap. The inner surface of the leaves have short stiff hair. When an insect touches the hair, the leaf blades snap shut and trap the insects behind the innermost hair. Okay, so the insect is then digested. Understand that? That is Venus flytrap. That is the first picture of that. Okay, next to the right, you can see that pitcher plant. Okay, that is pitcher plant. The pitcher plant has a football trap where the insect falls into a pitcher or vase like modified leaf. The inside of the pitcher is lined with downward pointing hair, okay, that do not allow any trapped insect to climb up and escape. Understand that? If the insect fall on the pitcher or waste like modified leaf, the inside of the pitcher is lined with downward pointing hair that do not allow any trapped insect to climb up and escape. Okay, so the insect then gets drowned into a pool of digestive juices that digest the insect. Okay, that is the character of that pitcher plant. Okay, understand that? Next, you can see the sundew plant. Okay, now now the first picture is the sundew plant. Okay, it is also known as drosera. It is also known as drosera. This plant has an adhesive trap in which tiny midge flies. Okay, it gets stuck. So the plant has elongation called tentacles. Okay, that is called tentacles, which have drops of sticky substance called mucilage at their ends. You can see this picture. The plant has elongations called tentacles, which have drops of sticky substance called mucilage. Okay, that is in the ends of the elongation. Okay, when an insect touches the tentacles, it gets stuck, and it is then digested by the plants. Understand that? The just example of insectivorous plant is bladderwort. Okay, the last example. Okay, that is the bladderwort. Okay, the bladderwort is found in ponds and has a door. Okay, and it has a trap door which allows easy entry of the prey into the pear-shaped bladder. Okay, as you can see this picture, the same bladder. This is the last example of the insectivorous plant. The name is bladderwort. Okay, it is found in ponds. Mostly it is found in ponds, and it has a trap door which allows easy entry of the prey into the pear-shaped bladder. Okay, this trap door cannot be forced to open from the within. Okay, it cannot be forced to open from within. Understand that? Okay, these are the examples of saprophytic, examples of insectivorous plants. Okay, here we studied 4 examples. Okay, what are they? Venus flytrap, pitcher plant, drosera or sundew plant, and bladderwort. Okay, and the last type of heterotrophic plants that we are going to study today is symbiotic plant. Okay, what is that? Symbiotic plant. There are certain plants which live with other plants and share shelter and nutrients. Okay, both the organisms gain from each other. This is called symbiotic relationship. Okay, in this relationship, one plant manufactures food while the other plant absorbs water and minerals for it. Okay, and it gives food and shelter to return. Understand? In this plant, one plant manufactures food while the other plant absorb water and minerals for it and give food and shelter in return. Okay, so what are symbiotic plants? Plants that live in association with other organisms where both the types are mutually gain from each other are called symbiotic plants. Understand that? Plants that live in association with other organisms when both the types mutually gain from each other are called symbiotic plants. An examples of symbiotic plants is lichen. Okay, an example of symbiotic plants are lichen. The lichens are an association between algae and fungi. Okay, this picture is lichen. Okay, see this which is green provides food, and a fungus which is not green provides water, minerals, and shelter to the algae. Okay, so the lichens are an association between algae and fungi. Okay, and see, and microscopic chlorophyll containing organisms. Okay, this green algae. So the algae provide nutrients to the fungus, and the fungus helps the algae to grow in harsh conditions and places where they would otherwise not survive. Understand that? And another one example is the nodules on the root of the pea plants. Okay, it have a symbiotic relationship with bacteria such as rhizobium. Okay, the rhizobium converts atmospheric nitrogen to soluble form, which is used by the pea plant to make the protein. Okay, and in return the pea plant provides food and shelter to rhizobium. Understand that? These nodules on the root of pea plant have a symbiotic relationship with bacteria such as rhizobium. Okay, so the rhizobium converts atmospheric nitrogen to soluble form, which is used up by the pea plant to make protein and in return the pea plant provides food and shelter to rhizobium. Understand that? So such a plants are called symbiotic plants. Okay, the lichens, also symbiotic plants. Another one we studied, the pea plant. Understand that? So this plants are called symbiotic plants, and the relationship is called symbiosis. Okay, and the relationship is called symbiosis. Okay, that is symbiotic plants. The final topic is in the chapter is replenishment of nutrients from the soil. Okay, what is that? Replenishment of nutrients from the soil. Okay. The plants absorb minerals and nutrients from the soil, especially nitrogen present in the soil for their growth. Okay, so when something is being used, its amount decline, right? Same way, the amount of minerals like nitrogen too get declined in the soil over a period of time. So, how can these nutrients be restored? Farmers and gardeners use manures and fertilizers to replenish the nutrients in the soil. Besides nitrogen, they also contain potassium and phosphorus needed by plants for healthy growth. Okay, besides nitrogen, they also contain potassium and phosphorus needed by plants for the healthy growth. Okay, so leguminous plants and rhizobium have a symbiotic relationship. Okay, so the leguminous plants and rhizobium have a symbiotic relationship. So what are symbiotic plants? Plants that live in association with the other organisms where both the types mutually gain from each other are called symbiotic plants. Okay, what is that? What is that? Plants that live in association with other organisms where both the types mutually gain from each other are called symbiotic plants. Okay, so this relationship helps the farmers because they do not need to add nitrogen containing fertilizer to the soil in which leguminous plants are grown. Okay, so this relationship helps the farmers because they do not need to add nitrogen containing fertilizers to the soil in which leguminous plants are grown. So after growing a crop such as wheat or rice, farmers usually grow a crop such as bean, peas or gram to maintain fertility of the soil. Okay, for what? To maintain fertility of the soil. So which are the plants will be grown? Bean, peas or gram. Okay, so this practice is known as rotation of crops. So what's this practice? The rotation of crops. These crops produce nitrogenous substances in their roots and make the soil fertile. Okay, what's the use of this? These crops produce nitrogenous substances in their roots and make the soil fertile. Okay, that is replenishment of nutrients in the soil. Understand that? So this is all about today's portion. Okay, so let's revise the whole lesson in the next class. Okay, so read the lesson 1, nutrition in plants. Okay, thank you students.